Right, so we've got some banging music tonight just for a laugh. So it's all good stuff. Yes, there's nobody on yet, obviously. Nobody's joined me. It's the time which is a lot, which is a lot. However, I've got a few things I want to talk about tonight, even if I am talking about yes, tonight we're going to have a look at reading more about Pyrrho probably, unless you've got other comments to bring on board. And two more people have just joined. And I'm going to talk about the opening chapters of my new book. My new book, obviously, which is called Beyond Belief. All the new chapters and stuff. Give some quotes for that. What else? I took a peek at the rescue today. If you want to ask about that bird, I'll hand it over to another. And stuff about medicating at the gym, of course, what's going to happen at the gym. So if any of you want to come on and give your comments, please do so. I hope you like the music, specially made. Chris Greenwood, music is loud, Bob. Is it loud now? I've eased it off a bit. I need a sound engineer, you see. If I was in a studio, in a radio station, then yeah. Kaleem's there. Right, good. Hopefully the music's a bit lower. It's going to go off in a minute anyway. I only recorded a short section of stuff. Can't hear me over the music. Has the music gone now then? Has the music gone now? Of course it has. There you go. So, that's why I need a sound engineer, okay? To play with the levels. I probably need some headphones as well. So, good to see you three. We've got 5 people, I believe, or 6 people on board now. So that's pretty cool. 5 people actually eyes on. Yeah, let's have a look and see who it is. I'll have a look. Is there a delay? That's what I want to know. Is there a delay? Nope. Okay, so there's no delay tonight. There has been a delay in the past, and it was pretty horrendous, and I was hoping that maybe we got it sorted out. But I'm looking at my computer here and I can't. Hi Charles, how are you doing, mate? Good. Hi Paul, good to see you as well. So tidy, 8 people. If one of you 8 would like to comment, that'd be good, just so I know you're here. Craig, oh no, Craig. Yeah, we're going to put the cat amongst the pigeons. I'm gonna ask you a favour pretty soon anyway, so that I wouldn't hang around, mate. Not if I was you. I am going to ask you a favour. It might be something you'd be interested in doing, sharing a little bit of your knowledge, shall we say. Hard-earned knowledge. Okay, as you can see, I've got my cup of tea. It's pretty warm outside today. I didn't really expect many people to come. And the phone has started pinging, so what does that mean? Oh, no. Okay, brilliant. Right, so, the music's gone now, obviously. Please tell me if there's some sort of delay. Oh, okay, Craig, I'll contact you later, mate. Nice for you to pop on and then pop off. I want to have a chat with you about podcasts, mate. All right, so that's something that's coming up. I've got some interesting guests. Yeah, okay, hiya, it froze. What froze? The image, the picture? I don't know. We always have this trouble on YouTube, don't we? I've noticed a few of the people who do these things. Matt Easton from the sword guy. His does this from time to time, and I really don't know what the answer is because it's plugged into the internet. Oh, it's back. Okay, so obviously there's some sort of glitch. As you can imagine, I can't see this glitch obviously because I'm not watching myself, if you know what I mean. That'd just be perverse. So got 9 people on board. I mentioned earlier on, but you couldn't hear me above the music, obviously. I got a couple of things I could talk about. I had a new bird came into the house the other day. I've handed on to another man though, at the rescue. It was a live pigeon. Well, it was a dove of some kind. Very nice, uninjured, and it walked into my house. So we fed it and took it to the rescue centre, where they probably cooked it. So, must only be K. Yeah, it could be K because you're in Belgium, mate. maybe there's some sort of lag or delay. I don't know. But anyway. So we've been on live now for 5 minutes and 12 seconds. I could do a weather forecast. It's fucking hot. I don't know whether you can say that on YouTube. I believe you can if you're not using too many curse words. Connection in Belgium, yeah, it's got to be, mate. It's got to be. So what you lot been up to? Come on, tell me what you've been up to, and I'll tell you what I've been up to. Because today, I've been working online with the website, the Meducate website, the blogs. Although I haven't posted another blog today, but me and my mate Murray have been planning and putting stuff together. I've done a couple of chapters of my new book, proper book, not an e-book, called Beyond Beliefs, where I explore the philosophy of China and Greece and the connections therein, but from a practical point of view, not just from a historical. There will be an element of historical material in there, anthropological stuff, sociological stuff, to give it a background, but the majority of the book are actually practical hand-on techniques that you can use, which over the past couple of weeks, as I've told some of you, had quite an impact on my old nog, my old noggin. So that's the book you want to be reading, Beyond Beliefs. Gonna blow your brains. I should have it written. I'm giving myself till the weekend, but it's going to be a proper 250 page book. I've got enough material, it's just whether I've got the time to actually do it. What was your new book, Charles? Tell me, what was your new book? I think there might be a bit of a delay, but hey ho. I got a new book this week. It's not new, it's quite old. Some of you might not know about it, some of you might. It's very difficult to get hold of. It's gone for about 50 quid now on Amazon. I don't know whether I've shown that to you. Benson Mates, Outlines of Pyrrhonism, The Skeptic Way. Marvellous. Bit heavy, but you lot are intelligent, aren't you? You'll be able to read this. Dead easy. It's got a really good preface, followed by the actual Outlines of Skepticism by Sextus Empiricus. And then a commentary in the back, which is quite useful, although quite a bit of it's in Greek. Hellenistic astrology, oh dear me. Probably not my thing, Charles, but as I don't have those sort of belief systems in place, which is actually what my book's about, belief systems and how belief systems end up driving the world into madness, really. And that once you drop away fixed beliefs and realise that beliefs are what they are, they're useful constructs for a period of time and have no inherent value, things start to get a lot clearer, if you know what I mean. And if you don't know what I mean, ask me a question and I'll tell you what I think I mean. Craig, reading up on memory techniques and the history of learning curve. Yeah, so Craig Galvin's been doing all this memory stuff. He sent me some really good YouTube links to look at how to improve the memory. And I'll be totally honest, Craig, I haven't even looked at them yet. I've flicked through them, but they look really interesting. So if you're interested in improving your memory, Craig's got some really good techniques for that. I've known Craig a long time. We met through self-protection back in the early 2000s, I believe, and kept our friendship up all that time. Did NLP, I trained Craig in NLP, but he was already pretty much up to speed on that. And then Craig being Craig took it to the next level. So he's into learn, memory techniques, as well as therapeutic work with hypnosis, and he loves exposing charlatans. Okay, not any item of his bodily functions, all right, and he's good at that, and he winds a lot of people up, so I like him because he doesn't take things too seriously. He takes people seriously, but not things. The stupid things that people say, embroil themselves in all sorts of angst-ridden nonsense, which are tied up with beliefs, of course. But there you go. Yeah. I agree, Charles. I read a lot of, or I have read a lot of Crowley, which is all about like sort of witchcraft type stuff at a basic level. Calling it witchcraft's probably doing it a disservice. A lot of Ouspensky and Gurdjieff and of course Aleister Crowley, and it's fascinating to see the way people use these things. This is what the modern conspiracy theories are, isn't it? It's, people are replacing one set of beliefs with another, with no foundation. So yeah, conspiracy theories are the new religion, I guess, to a certain extent. Now, future predictions, I'm not always a fan of that. Well, no, none of us can predict the future. All we know is we're going to be dead. And we're probably going to get ill. And we're probably going to get sick. But we're definitely going to age. And we're definitely going to die. But that's not a belief. That's what evidence shows us. Because belief's always about non-evident things. That's when you've got a problem. When you don't have any evidence for the existence of these things that we believe in. And that's what my book's about. And it's using a clever mix of NLP techniques, linguistic stuff from Korzybski, stuff as far afield as the Greeks and the Chinese and the Japanese, with the Indians in between. So it's like a journey through the belief systems of, I guess, the world, really. Although I'm not talking about the United States and South America. Or Hawaii, because they've got some interesting things as well, none of which I've actually studied, so I can't really talk about them, if they even exist at all. So yeah, The Skeptic Way. It's not cheap. Mine's an old library copy. I managed to get this old library copy from Nottingham University, and it was taken out of circulation. I didn't nick it. First published back in... it's quite an old book, but it's still quite good in terms of being one of the authorities. 96, so it's not that old. Well, actually, for you guys, it's probably very old. For me, that's just like yesterday in the terms of time. And Paul says, I thought the charlatans were very good. Yeah, the charlatans were quite good. Not, yeah, I like that one. Thanks, you made me smile. Are you doing the book as a PDF, mate, or paperback also? I'm doing it as, well, it wasn't going to be a PDF. It was going to be a proper book from Amazon, because I like books. It'll be a paperback. It'll be probably about this thick as well. And I'm already 2 chapters in. But it's going to get out of hand. Because I wrote a manual for the How to Let Shit Go thing, and that turned out from a 15-page manual. Ed memoir turned into a 40-page or 50-page book, which was a bit mad. But I do like getting my thoughts down. And hopefully you like reading them, all of you. But yeah, I haven't got a date for the publication of the book because I'm only just writing it. But I'm going to have to work pretty quick because I need to get things moving. Because the gym's not going to be open anytime too soon, is it? That's been put back again. Oh, and Chris has said... and Kindle, yeah, it'll be in Kindle. It'll be Kindle and a hard copy. So, I might even get you to write a chapter in it, Craig. There you go. Oh shit. So, what's everybody been up to? You heard about my bird. I've told you about my book, and I've told you about this other book that I've been reading and spent a lot of time making notes on. Literally on. Yeah, and of course I'm continuing to write stuff on the blog and for the newsletter. There'll be a new blog post coming pretty soon, next couple of days I believe. I've just got to get it written, but that's how I like to work, in the spur of the moment. Hey Justin, late on parade. Yeah, buy your beds, mate. Nice to see you, Justin. I've just put a video of you on Facebook. It's actually not just you. Vinny's on there, Em's on there, Andy Brown's on there. It was the promotional video for the DVD that we did in the gym that time, 2006 or 7, I can't remember. But you're looking very young and very jumpy, flicking up in the air with your jumping roundhouse kick. All very good. Yeah, Craig, I will call you, mate. I'll drop you a line and we'll have a chat about a couple of things. One of them's a podcast, the other one's, I'm just thinking now, yeah, it could be a chapter in a book, mate. That'd be interesting. It's always good to have guests, isn't it? particularly when they share a similar idea about life, the universe, and everything else. So, reading up. Oh no, I've seen that one already. Oh, we've got 13 on. Okay, so that's 2 more than last week, which is looking good. So, who are these 13? Is there a way I can find out? Probably. I'll probably by. Oh yeah, the new seminar. Yeah, Chris has said about. I've got a new seminar coming up as well. Oh, on the 5th. It's Sunday the 5th, and the following Sunday the 12th of July. Okay. And it's actually looking at the techniques that are going to be in the book. So you may feature in the book as one of my clients. I can name you if you want or not. So essentially the seminar is going to be not just to launch the book, but I'd like to get the book done before that, but that's not going to be possible. But the seminar is going to be practical techniques based on what I'm writing about and all the stuff I've been working on over the past 50 years really. But it's all sort of come together, as we've talked about before. It's all starting to come together now into a cohesive thing, which I'm sort of calling the HIGHERWAY code. Really, it's beyond beliefs. I've always thought about this stuff ever since I was 12 years old. Beliefs and how they shape people and how they fuck people up, basically. And over the 20 odd years of doing NLP, the number of people I meet whose beliefs are the things that are screwing them up. And I remember Richard Bandler talking about it. I think he called them the chains of the free or something like that. Or was that me? I can't remember. Maybe Craig would remember. Maybe I coined that phrase. Maybe I heard Richard say it. But he said beliefs were the chains of the free. I think I said it actually. But anyway. Yeah. Oh yeah. So it'll be good when it comes out. And the course, I mean, you can sign up. You should have had newsletters. If any of you hadn't had newsletters, you're not on my list. So I need your email address, and then I can sort it out. But actually, if you go on YouTube, I've started putting all the links on all of my videos there. So if you go on any of the YouTube videos, you can get links to the subscription URL for the newsletter. You can get them for the blogs, and ultimately it'll be for the website because we're still building the website. It's that big a job. Ah, Dr. Mill. Millard. How you doing, mate? Here we go. Good old Millard. I haven't seen him for a while. Yes, Millard. It's good to see you on here, mate. I'm surprised you're not somewhere stuck in A&E dealing with nutcases who are standing too close to each other on a regular basis. Millard's one of my students. He's a doctor, obviously. Fairly recently qualified, but I've trained him for years. He's trained with me in Muay Thai for years and listened to my rubbish for just as many years, I'm afraid. Habit specifically smokers, okay. Yeah, digitally, it's good to see you, Millard. Yeah. Rohan might come on. I sent him a link, but whether he will or not, I don't know. He came on, I think it was on the meditation group the other night, or the week before. I can't remember, but Rohan's been online with us. But that was live on Zoom. And that's the other thing, guys. Remember, my timetable on Zoom as well. Monday and Thursday, 6 o'clock Thai boxing. Tuesday nights, bing, meditation. So you get a chance to hear my wonderful bell. Like that. And about 10 of you have just fallen into a trance now, if the anchor's worked. He's in the hospital right now, actually, but wouldn't miss this. Oh, good man. You're not saving people's lives on your phone, resuscitating someone. Oh, thanks, Millard. Yeah, it's a pleasure, mate. So, Millard, what's happening to your YouTube videos? I saw a couple of them. They were pretty good. The day-to-day life of a doctor. I believe Matt Mills was helping you out with them. And give you some tips on how to edit and this sort of thing, which he did with me, incidentally. So a lot of my videos and all of the thumbnails and stuff that you see, that was down to my mate Matt helping me out. Well, mainly the editing. Actually, the editing of the video was where he came in. So he taught me how to use iMovie. So if you want to learn how to edit your movies, speak to Matt Mills. MJM Studios. They're on YouTube. Listen to me giving all these plugs. Ah, so you're just working on a little project. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing that. So yeah, everything's going good. It's very hot here in my little office with the lights on and all of the other kit that's around. But obviously, I think everybody can hear me clearly, and it would be good if anybody can tell me, is the quality of the sound good, and is the image and so on looking good? Because obviously I don't see what you see. I have got a monitor, obviously I've got my laptop, but I'm using my best camera, I'm using all my best kit, my best microphone. So thanks, Mel. Good man, good. So new Doctor videos out soon. Good. Oh, can't wait to see that. And Chris has said it's better than Zoom. Good. Because Zoom, we get this delay with it. It's very strange. But I'm looking forward to Millard's new Doctor videos. Sounds like Carry On Doctor. Is that what you're going to call it? Carry On Medicating? Carry On Doctoring. That would be funny. Because I'm still doing the top tips for the Oskies. I've got to put some of them up next week. So Millard, if you've got any ideas on top tips for the Oskies, what you think might be useful, I'll do a video on it, and we can link, obviously, and we need to link anyway. If you've got a blog or anything, Millard, we need to go on. Oh, Tina said, looking good. Thank you very much, Tina. She sent me a text rather than come on here. Yeah, this is what happens, Millard, when you're using a Canon M50 camera, which has got 4K software and a really good short depth of field lens, and the sound is a condenser mic, as you can see off to my right, or your left, I think. I'll give you a shout out, Millard, don't worry, I'll link to yours as well. Yeah, it's always important when I know some of you guys have got websites and that, but you need to speak to my mate Murray. That's the lad who I went to school with, and he's working with me on building the blogs, building the content, and he's like a slave driver, which is good because it keeps me focused on the task at hand, because I get easily distracted, as many of you have seen, which is hence why I can jump from one topic to another. It's useful in some contexts, and in others it can be quite alarming for me. I've got 3 books on the go at the moment. One you've already seen. Another one we might talk about later. Anyway. Come on guys, your comments will fuel what's going on. Otherwise I'll talk about swords and wigs and books on YouTube and all sorts. What's this? So, okay, no. Somebody just told me to eat that dove. I can't believe it. It was a beautiful little bird, little dove. I put a picture of it on Instagram today, and she walked into my house. I say she, could have been a he, but it looked like a she. And yeah, and I handed her over today to a rescue. I mean, she wasn't injured, was fit and well, just hungry and thirsty. So fed her, looked after her, tried to let her go, but she wouldn't fly away. She just jumped onto a plant pot thing and just sat there until I picked her up. So she's obviously a home bird. She's obviously she belongs to someone. Even had a ring on its leg, but the designated details on there, the designation didn't make any sense to any of the bird people. You call them that? The pigeon fanciers and dove fanciers of the world. So yeah. So fuel me with your comments, guys. We've got 13 lovely people watching me. I'm having a lovely cup of tea, Yorkshire tea if you want to know. It's not healthy, but it is nice. And the lights went out, did they? No, and they're back on. That's weird. So, come on, you must want to know what... we want to delve the depths of my huge intellect. Yeah, and the rest. So we haven't got we've got lots of new people on, but some of the other people are not on. Are you still on, Luke? You've always got some interesting question to throw me, or something you're reading. Dom's recovery. Any recommendations on making our clubs COVID compliant so we can get back hitting and kicking? Thanks, Bob. Dave. Right. Dave. Right. COVID compliant. Right. Well, I'm certainly not taking the advice of the politicians because they talk shit. And when you've got a prime minister that constantly lies, you don't know what to believe. And that's a fact. That's not just a belief. That's evident. However, I'm going to go back when I think it's safe, which is, I guess, really when Parliament are sitting shoulder to shoulder. That's usually a good indication that it's safe for us to go back, because as just the plebs, they don't give a shit about us, herd immunity and stuff like that. And the way I'm going to do it, I've already spoken to some of the other instructors, and we're going to have, what we're going to do is segregate the gym down into 5 areas. So they're 5 specific areas that one person can work in. We can't do pad work, and we can do bag work. Pad work, I believe, is just irresponsible at the moment. I know there's some instructors out there who'll say, shut up, you prick, Bob. But I'm going on medical evidence, not on conspiracy theories, not on what my mate on Facebook's doing. And from the medical people I've spoken to, and I'm sure Millard he's a doctor, can agree with me on this, it's still not safe as far as I'm concerned. I'm still staying in the house and going out once a week to shop, or maybe popping over at the corner shop. But people are starting to take this all too lightly. There's probably going to be a second wave. I can't guarantee that. I hope there isn't. But that's how these pandemics pan out. And there has been a lot of people killed worldwide, with Great Britain being the winners. Well, I think the United States is probably caught up now. I'm not going to be, I don't want to be responsible for the deaths of anybody in my care. And that's despite the fact I'm losing horrendous amounts of money. I've made no money now for 3 months, apart from what my patrons have been giving me as a monthly thing, which doesn't amount to a lot, but it's gratefully received. It sort of keeps the wolf at the door. But I'm not going to go into the gym until I feel it's safe. As I say, in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to reassess it. Everything's been cleaned in there, but of course, if you've got a gym, and I'm talking specifically to Dave, and the doctor's just told me the second wave is likely, and I believe the medical profession above all of the others. I work with medics, and I have done for 12 years, and I trust their judgment implicitly. They don't have a hidden agenda, unlike politicians and conspiracy theorists. There's no hidden agenda. Doctors are evidence-based. When a doctor makes a decision, it's based on the evidence they have at the given moment, not some conjecture, not some theory, not some belief. So what we're going to have to do, Dave, is we've also got to think in terms of, you've got to have sanitizers in the gym. People have got to make sure that they use them before and after, that the equipment is cleaned down by them. And all of this costs money. So if you're charging an average of £7 for a student, let's say that's an average. I know that's not what I charge a lot less. But if you're charging an average of £7, you're making 35 quid in the hour. Now, after you've taken off the cost of the cleaning equipment, you probably make, and the rent, you're probably making a tenner maybe. I don't know. I can only go on what I pay rent, which is £400 a month. And I certainly can't afford that with small groups coming in the gym. It's not very cost effective with 5 people in terms of, as much as I'd love to do it, I've got to think, if I'm in the gym, I've got to pay rent. If I've got to pay rent, then I've got to find 400 quid. Now, am I making sense, or am I just going around in circles? But you know what I'm talking about, Dave. So I think I'm going on the basis of what my medical friends are telling me, not on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or whatever. Unless it's a doctor on there talking about it. Okay. I hope that's helped. It was a bit rambly. It's going to be expensive to make them COVID safe, to be honest. You're really going to have to be very careful, because if you think about it, every surface that is touched by the students coming in, door handles, door frames, yeah, literally anything they're touching, if they are carrying that on them, that's gonna spread. and then some other poor bugger is going to come along, pick it up, take it home and give it to their grandmothers or their parents or even their kids, because it is having a small effect on children. And I know in hindsight, yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it should have been, the lockdown should have been done in February. That's when it should have started. I had friends in Italy telling me about it, medics as well in Italy, saying you need to lock down in England. The rest of Europe needs to lock down. It's gone out of hand in Italy because, again, they didn't take it seriously. Anyway. Yeah, be optimistic but realistic. Yeah, absolutely good recovery. Yeah, yeah. I hope you saw that, Dave. Yeah, probably when lockdown lifts completely. Be optimistic but realistic. Sadly, I mean, we're all in the same boat, and I know some guys are really struggling financially, but so am I. You know, I haven't paid my mortgage for 3 months, none of my bills. You know, luckily I've had, you know, a mortgage holiday and things like that. But the government didn't support many of us with the self-employment thing, for example. And I don't know whether any of the guys who are on at the moment had anything to do with that. But because I'm self-employed, I thought I'd be able to get this money, this self-employment grant thing. But evidently, because I've worked for the university on PAYE, I'm no longer classed as completely self-employed. And the university are supposed to furlough me. But because I'm 0 hours contracts with them, i.e. an external self-employed worker, they don't furlough you, they don't give you any money. So, you know, I understand how tough it is, particularly when you're running a gym, and frustrating, particularly when they open pubs. It just says a lot about the government, doesn't it? Pubs and restaurants, well, why have they opened them? Because they make money. VAT, tax. Us poor gym owners don't pay a lot of tax because we don't earn a lot of money. So we're going to be right down the list of priorities. But in some ways, I think that's a good thing. It's just hard when you see other places opening and you think, well, look at these people are going to get drunk. They're going to be on top of each other, bumping into each other. They're going to go to the toilets where other people have been and handle door handles. Yeah, it doesn't even bear thinking about. You won't catch me in a pub or a restaurant. No chance. Although I could fancy a beer, actually. It would be nice to have a beer. Right. I've come off that rant now. I think that was long enough. Anything to add, guys? Come on, let's some of your caustic comments on here so we can move this along. What other books have I been reading then? I'm going to bore you shitless now. I think I've already talked about this book. Oh, yeah. NLP questions. Any recommendations for positive anchors and triggers? Tried music, favourite item or drink? Actually, one of the best anchors is a physical anchor. A music's a good anchor, but the thing is with an anchor, okay, this is not just for Dave, this is for everybody. Just so you all know what we're talking about. An anchor is an association with a thing, object, a sensation, a sound, okay? So for example, I'll give you a visual anchor. For some people, when they see the Union Jack, they feel patriotic. So they get a swell of pride. They feel good about it. Some people see the Union Jack and they think the opposite, particularly if you've been subjugated by the British, like in India, for example, and in Africa and in the colonies. Okay, so the flag doesn't mean the same thing, but that's a visual anchor. Other anchors are music. So this is why they use music in films. So when you hear that music again, you're taken back to the film and you might want to see it again. Okay, so that's an auditory anchor. And the thing is with an anchor, no matter what you're using, whether it's seeing something, hearing something or feeling something, i.e. someone tapping you on the shoulder, you have to be at the peak of the experience. So if you imagine an experience start at 0 and the state rises as you get more and more, let's say confident, okay? So you're feeling more and more confident that your kick's getting better and better and better and better and better. What happens with the state is it reaches its peak and then it starts to drop off. So that height of experience, the really good feeling at the top of the curve, yeah, will vanish. That's how we experience the world. We start to feel good, we feel bloody brilliant, and then it trails off a little bit. We try and hang on to that feeling. always quite difficult, but not impossible. So what we do is we have to put the anchor in at the top of that curve. So imagine it's called a bell curve. So when you reach the height, so you listen to the music, okay? So this is specifically for you, Dave, because you mentioned this. Or a drink, maybe not a good anchor, okay? Because alcohol's got negative and positive associations. But let's go back to the music, okay? So you're going to listen to a bit of inspirational music. So what you got to do is find the music that inspires you the most, just that one track, okay? Now this will be dependent upon your state at the time. So you might see a film and you might be swept along on it and think, yes, yes, this makes me feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger or something like that, whatever, okay? There's some good music in Deadpool, okay? And I've used that with 1 or 2 clients. So you listen to that music and you'll feel the state build. When you get to the peak of the experience, okay, I want you to click your fingers together or touch your finger and thumb together like this and fire off that anchor and keep that anchor going. As the state continues, you keep the anchor going. Then you stop and you switch the music off, okay? So you've got a physical anchor and an auditory anchor. So then what you want to do is listen to the music. Yes, that'll bring the state back. Cool. Reinforce it. Do that again. Then, next time you're training or whatever it is you want to do, yeah, and I'm assuming it's for training, okay, what you do is you go to the gym or you're getting ready for training and you do that. And that should set off the anchor. You might even hear the music in your head. And if you get the feeling back, that's when you've put the anchor in. Anchors only collapse or fall apart when they're not put in at the correct point. This is really crucial. People talk about anchors. It's not enough to feel good. You've got to feel absolutely fucking brilliant. It's the top of the bell curve. That little point there is when you put the anchor in. Now, as a teacher, I've learned to do that when I see my students. So I see my students in a positive state, feeling good about a technique, and I'll go and touch them on the shoulder. I'll just tap them on the shoulder and go, that was good, that was brilliant, double that feeling. And I'll say double that feeling. And you'll see them start to buzz and I'll tap again. Then the next time when they're learning a new technique and they're struggling, I'll go over and tap them on the shoulder. That brings the state back and they're more motivated to get things done. That's how an anchor works. Oh, drink from a water bottle. Right, okay. So as long as you handle that drink, that bottle, at the peak of the state, that's the key to it. Doesn't matter what the anchor is. The anchor can be anything. It could be that. And I know what you're going to think when you see that. And the associations with that can be many and varied. Okay? So the state that you're feeling now, if you reach the positive state, the top of the curve, that's when you put the anchor in. And I'm not going to say any more about that. But that's a good visual anchor now. And some of you who did the How to Let Shit Go seminars with me will remember the toothbrush. That was an anchor. Because whenever you think of toothbrush, you know what you're going to think about. If you're curious about that, you can ask me and I might discuss it later. Yeah, and that's the other point. Once you've fired it off, once you've reached the peak and you've installed the anchor, don't keep doing it as the feeling drops. Release at the peak before it drops. Craig's made a point. And eventually you won't need the anchor, correct? Because just even think about it makes it happen. And I used to do this, and Craig's probably seen me do this, when I've installed anchors in people, a physical anchor to demonstrate. Then as a joke, but it's not a joke, I will look at, I've anchored it on their knee, and then I look at their knee and the anchor fires off. And I did this with a girl on a course many years ago, and everybody was looking at her knee, and she eventually started covering her knees up to start. I think Luke Mannion, Luke might have been on that course actually. I certainly would have done it. Make sure one second. Jane Ansell, don't ask. Don't ask what? Oh, gym's allegedly reopening mid-July. Yes, I heard that as well, Luke. I don't know how you're going to do it. Oh, Millard, what is the single best philosophical principle you've come across? I know nothing. Pretty simple. I know nothing. Just remind yourself of that when you think you know things. And the moment you start to really believe that you know nothing, that you can only go on what your senses tell you, you get a certain amount of freedom. Certainly I did. When you're totally non-judgmental. It's that acceptance that you can never know everything. You can only know what your senses tell you. And even then, there's some discourse about that as well. But for the purposes of living your life in a normal way and interacting with the universe around you, to be able to be completely non-judgmental, where you're judged neither for good nor bad, where you see no distinction between the two, that's when everything falls away. And I always cite Dogen, and there's an old Chinese thing called the Jinjin Ming, which goes in detail about that. And I've got a really nice English translation of it, but taken from a Western philosophical perspective, like Wittgenstein, certainly the existential writer Wittgenstein, who was also a skeptic. So yeah, that's my, I guess, my fundamental. I know it doesn't sound cool, and it's not a fancy maxim or anything like that, because the problem with these things is you can pull them apart. But if you're freely admitting that you know nothing, yeah, then that it's like a form of agnosticism, I suppose. That's probably not the right word to use, but then we can get trapped with linguistics then. Oh, Jen, yeah, the toothbrush, yeah. Depends where you've been putting it and if it's electric or not. Yeah. Yeah. So things are starting to slide a little bit downhill now. They were getting really interesting, and then yeah. So hopefully that's answered your question, Dave, on the anchors. You should have come on the How to Let Shit Go course. We talked a little bit about anchors, and we actually were putting them in. Very difficult online, as Craig will attest to, but not impossible, not impossible. Just remember, you know nothing. It's very much a skeptic's sort of argument for things. And it puts you beyond that good and bad, black and white, the whole thing. Because once you take a fixed position, that's when you have to feel you defend it. That's when people get anxiety, when they start panicking, when their life starts falling apart because they don't feel they've got any control. Of course you haven't got any control. The universe is in a permanent state of flux. How can you have any control over it? So just relax and just go with the flow. Sounds a bit Taoist, doesn't it? Dao ke dao, fei chang dao, ming ke ming, fei chang ming, which is saying the same thing, but in Chinese, obviously. And if Kai's on here, he'll pull me up on my Chinese. Yeah, and Craig's agreed it can be done. Online, that's online anchoring. Let's see if I can go back on some of these comments. I'm not sure whether I can or not. No, I'm finding it difficult to go back on the comments because I might have missed. If I've missed one of your comments, guys, please tell me. Did you just say ginger minge in a Chinese? No. But I have got one. I have got one, Luke. It's funny you should say that. No matter what people talk about, I always bring them out, right? So what I'll do, basically, so essentially, this is what I used to look like. Okay, back in the day, obviously, it's a ginger Boris, really, isn't it? Yeah. Too much to send over you. I'm in a similar position to you on business. Right. Okay, Justin, I'll talk about that in a second. That's interesting. Yeah, so I said Dao ke Dao Fei Chang Dao Ming Ke Ming Fei Chang Ming. Means the way that can be followed is not the eternal way, and the name that can be named is not the eternal name. I'm actually going to be talking about the Jin Jin Ming and the Tao Te Ching in the book. Strangely enough, there's going to be a whole chapter on Chinese philosophy and its links to the Hellenistic cultures and the actual practical applications of these things. Another NLP question. Any tips for improving listening skills? How to listen without waiting? Yeah, listen. Open your ears. Okay, this is what people do. So, and this happens on when I'm training medics. Okay, when we're doing role play with the medics, and we call it active listening. Okay, what the students characteristically do, and you're having the same problem like a lot of people, you're not actually listening to what the person's saying. You're waiting to get your turn. Okay. Trust yourself enough to just listen to what that person's saying clearly, okay? And what you want to look for in NLP, we call this the deep structure of language. So when people are saying things, we call them generalizations, deletions and distortions. Listen for those and it starts to tune your ear in to what the person's actually saying. And then your response will be appropriate to what they're saying. Millard will agree with me, young medics are terrible for it because they've got so much stuff in their heads they want to get out. They don't actually listen to the patient. Now, listening skills are not just auditory either. You're listening for non-verbal cues, physical characteristics. What are they doing with their hands, their eyes, their body language, if you like. I hate that word, but that's essentially what you're looking at. So, listening is multifaceted. It's not just listening with the ears, although that's an important part of it. You need to switch on and focus. So it's about being aware, being in the present moment. Talk about this on the meditation group. We all talk about how do we use meditation in the day-to-day life. Well, here's a perfect example. Having focus of attention on the cushion is easy. Well, relatively easy. Having focus of attention when you're with another human being is very difficult because you've got your agenda and you're trying to get it out. Now that's wrapped up with your belief systems as well. So when belief systems start to fall apart and you admit you know nothing really other than what's evident, when you're speaking to someone, what is evident is the words they're saying and the meaning behind it. Don't make assumptions about it. Listen to what people are saying. And that way you will improve your listening skills. So you've already identified the problem, Dev, that you're jumping ahead. You're making assumptions before you've listened. So next time somebody's talking to you, actually just listen. Comments on the side of a box are really good for this because I've got to talk to you guys not knowing what these comments are because I can't see them because I'm looking at a lens. My laptop's down here. So that's why every now and again I look down and I go, okay, good question. I wouldn't mind knowing how to teach students that. Okay, so that's useful. So Jen said that. And Millard's agreed. The average doctor only waits a few seconds before interrupting. And this is dangerous because often you can miss some really important things. The other thing it does, when you start interrupting people before they've finished their flow of thought, you break rapport. You lose your empathy with that person and they will not share information that maybe they would have done. I hope that's clear. It's really important. You give that person the opportunity to speak and they'll know if you're listening. Remember, it's an old sales thing I was taught back in the 80s. You've got 2 of these and 1 of these. Use those twice as much. So think about that. And Millard has made the point, yeah, young doctors are terrible for jumping in. Now, part of that, particularly when they're in practice, i.e. working in A&E, for example, they're in such a rush, under such a lot of pressure, they can miss things, which amazes me that they do the job they do, and they do it well, because they have to think about 300 things at once. They haven't just got one patient. They've got a patient coming in. They've got a patient in a booth. They've got another one to see. Their thoughts are filled with what happened to that other patient that I just had. It's a difficult job. But if a doctor can do it under those sort of pressures, you can learn to do it. It's easy. It's just called focus of attention. So whenever you choose to do something, stay purely focused on that. And what you want to do is do it with people you know, first of all. Okay? And just practice listening and feeding back. So when you said X, Y, Z, did you mean... And people go, oh, and feed back what they're saying. Particularly things like questions. When students say to me in the class, at the end of a session, they'll say, oh, you know, when we did the roundhouse kick, how did you do that again? What did you say about the hip? And I'll say, the question was blah, 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 blah. And that shows the student who's got the question that I was listening. And then everybody can hear the question, then I'll feed back. And it's amazing for building rapport at the end of a class. It's a really useful public speaking skill. And you need to have it if you're a teacher. Okay. Justin's back again. Listen to your patient. He is telling you the diagnosis. Absolutely true. Listen to the human being. They're telling you what they want you to hear. In a doctor's case, this is what's wrong with me. I've had a pain here, it's waking me up at night, so don't interrupt them if you're a doctor. Obviously, it depends on your job. But you don't want to interrupt people anyway, unless you're using what's called a pattern interrupt, and that's to put them into a trance. But that's a whole other topic. And I'll be talking about trances in the book. How people get into belief trances. They get into states of trance by their fixed beliefs and fixed position. It's all to do with the ego and the self. Be interested instead of waiting to speak. That in of itself helps you focus on taking in the info. Then it'll make it easier to expand the conversation there. So Craig's just paraphrased what I've just said there quite clearly. Oh, and Stuart's on Physical and Mental Strength. That's a really good blog, guys. Go and have a look at Stu's blog, Physical and Mental Strength. Subscribe to it, sign up to it, and share it, because he's trying to eke out a living as well. Okay, how can you most effectively help someone break away from their negative beliefs, thoughts? Because it's just a belief. Negative or positive, this is the problem. This is where people get tied up. Okay, we think a positive belief is going to be good for you. We think a negative belief, just forget them both and go with the flow. It's when you tie yourself in with a belief, because even a positive belief, such as, oh, I'm going to be stronger and harder every day and all that nonsense on affirmations, okay? These still limit your ability to interact with the world in a meaningful way, okay? So, negative or positive, you need to shed beliefs generally. You can use what are called presuppositions, which are a type of belief. And these are simple maxims. You guys have heard me spout these out. Craig will know where they come from. They're from NLP. And what my favourite one is, there is no failure, only feedback. Okay? Now, I'll only use that when I need to use it. If I suddenly find myself going, oh, I've made a bit of a mess of that, I'll go, there is no failure, there's only feedback. That's it. It's just feedback. Okay, I'll use that for the moment that I need it. But the rest of the time, what I'm doing now is suspending belief, either one way or another, until the evidence shows itself. Okay? So, you can obviously change negative beliefs. You can reframe them. You can reframe any belief. We talked about reframing and frames on the meditation evenings, as well as on the How to Let Shit Go seminar. So you should find in the manual, Stuart, stuff on belief changes. There's some basic things. We talked about the swish patterns, how we can change our beliefs in ourselves in terms of habits. Specifically, I think we talked about smoking. How we can use anchors and use collapsing anchors and chaining anchors to change the way you see yourself or feel about yourself. But ultimately, the goal is to drop beliefs altogether. And then you're in a state of equanimity, if you like, whatever you want to call it. The Greeks call it ataraxia, eudaimonia. The Buddhists call it nirvana, nibbana. It comes by many terms. In Japan, kensho, satori. It's when you have a sudden epiphany, when you go, okay, when everything drops away. It usually comes after a massive doubt. When you start to just go, well, this is all a pile of shit. And you literally just let it go. Once it's all gone, you go, oh, really? And we've all had those moments. And then what you do is try and hang on to them. And the moment you hang on to them, it's like, I've said this before, the moment you grasp onto it, it's like trying to hold water in your hands. It's just going to slip through your hands. You just go with it. That all sounds very... So, you got to think, Stuart, that these negative beliefs and thoughts are transient anyway. They don't last long. And by believing in them and believing that they're going to have some sort of power over you, you're definitely going to make yourself feel shit. I mean, that's how the brain works. It learns things. The unconscious and the conscious mind, particularly the unconscious, learns things really, really well. How do you think people get phobias? They've learned that like that instantly. Anchors, that's why a good anchor will work. Bang, instantly. It's sudden, it's quick, it's sharp. Yeah, a good hypnotist will work on you like that. But of course, he or she's got to build up to it by building rapport, by listening. So maybe you need to listen to the internal voices as well, Stuart, if you've got any. And switch them off. Remember the technique? Switch them off, turn them down, change them to Homer Simpson or Daffy Duck or any funny character. Then they don't have any power because you don't believe them anymore. You just laugh at them. And when you're laughing at a belief, you no longer have the belief. And you no longer have the problem. If you want to delineate into problems and and opportunities. And all of those aphorisms that people bandy around in the sales and self-development world. Which is why I called that book, the free download, After Self-Development. I want to go beyond that. Because most of it is just to get lots of money out of you, make you dependent. Beyond beliefs, I'm saying to people, if what we talk about in the book doesn't work, you get your money back. Give me the book back. And there won't be a part 2. And a part 3 and a part 4. I'm not Anthony Robbins. There'll be some seminars for different people. But if I don't want to see the same people on the course again and again and again. And you often see that. You see people who train with Richard and then Richard Bandler, and then they'll be on another course, and all they're doing is just feeding their insecurities. They really didn't sort themselves out the first time, which is what a good therapist does. You get sorted quickly, effectively, realistically. I think I will apply the pattern with this guy I was talking to just now. He sounds like he's in a place I was in a few. Oh, I see. So he's trapped in this negative belief cycle. Well, you know what the tools are, mate. Just do it. Just go for it. Don't try it. Just do it. What's the worst that can happen? He just stays the same, or you make him worse. That'd be hilarious. That'd be fun. Okay. So anyway, any other comments, guys? We're getting near, what is it now? It's 56 minutes online. So we've had quite a good one with 13 people and 1 thumbs up. Justin came on and put a thing just for the self-employed here. Too much to send over. I'm in a similar position to you, owning the business. He's not considered self-employed, but being a limited business, he's considered employed and therefore can't furlough myself. No grants are available for engineering or manufacturing. The only way forward is the business bounce back loan. Basically, the government are signing guarantor for businesses. The loans are available over 5 years, 0 interest for the first 12 months. Ooh, maybe that's what I need to get, Justin. A bounce back loan. Guess who's going to contact Lloyd's tomorrow? Bounce back. Yeah, bounce back to those old beliefs. Bounce back loans. I love that. Bounce back. It sounds jolly, doesn't it? That's probably language patterns to make you feel good about it. Ooh, bounce back. I like bouncing back. Back against what? Hiya, Kaleem. Thumbs up there. I'll tell you who's not on tonight, and that's my mate from Bengal. Yeah? Where is he? Where's Ratul? Oh, we've got a thumbs down there. I don't know what I've said. What have I said? A thumbs down. Actually, they're all good anyway. Whether it's a thumb up or a thumb down, it's just a position to me, and I love positions, as you know. Yeah. So we've only got a couple of minutes left now, guys. But thanks for coming on. Unless your checks bounce, yeah, not a bad choice of words. Unless, of course, your checks bounce. So there you go. Craig's put another slant on it, which I thought he would do. I thought he would do. By the way, guys, the more thumbs up you give, the more comments you get. It's really good for my, you got this. Yeah. Thanks, my lad. Join me next week. Unless anybody's got anything else to add, please just get back online every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Tell your friends. Yes. Oh, sorry. Fake mayonnaise. Sorry. Can you watch the video? Yeah, of course I can watch the video. Who are you? Tell me who you are. Fake mayonnaise. Yeah. Could be anybody. We get all sorts on here. And of course I can watch the video. And we'll all watch the video. Richie Kavanagh. Oh, you got yours in the account within 24 hours. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, bounce back loans, but don't bounce those checks. Do anybody use checks now? Does anybody use checks? Who knows? Who knows? I haven't used a check for ages and ages and ages. But anyway, guys, you're a kid from America. Okay, mate. So, sorry, I wasn't sure whether you were, we've had a few people who are bombing us, if you know what I mean. So, well, welcome aboard anyway. And I will watch the video and we'll see what it's about. And maybe talk about it next week. Yeah, no, thanks, Dave. Nice to see you on here. And take care of yourself. And everybody else. Thanks to Kay and Fake Mayonnaise and Emilad and Charles and Tina and everybody else who's been on tonight. Sorry if I missed a name. Kaleem, of course, and Stuart. I've mentioned Kay. And don't forget, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, Muay Thai online, Zoom. But everything will be on. And please share and like and subscribe and get all your mates to do the same with the channels, please. I'd love it if you can all help. We all help each other out. Okay, guys, stay safe. Remember, this is recorded, so you can check it out later on tonight if you've missed bits of it and you want to go back to it. All right, guys. Right, and I'll play us out with a bit of noisy music, shall I? Why not? Why not? Yeah, thanks guys. I don't know, all this music I get from you guys.